go to y'all's boy, your man's, Joey B. Joey B. And it's just funny. I was just talking this. Wasn't I saying something about this on the Remix Morning Show? I was complaining about the lack of pardons and the lack of commutations by Biden and by these fucking punk ass governors, right? I was just complaining about that shit. And Biden said he stepped away from watching the Remix Morning Show and said, I'm actually going to do something. But when I say do something, I mean not really something, a little something, a teeny tiny bit of something, right? Okay. So the news, and I'm sure you guys are like, Kim, the real news is that fucking Putin and Biden is talking nuclear Armageddon. Guys, I live outside of Washington, D.C. These are not the conversations I like to have. I do. I don't like to have them conversations about nuclear Armageddon because I know where the missiles is pointed, okay? And the fucking blast range for a nuclear bomb is definitely got my zip code in it. So, we can talk about other things. Can't we talk about other things? Let's talk about other things. Okay, so we talk about other things. Let's talk about the weed. Because I like to talk about weed. Love weed. Weed is my fave. Weed is my homie. My homie lover friend. We been there. We been there longer than all you bitches. Weed has been in my corner. Weed has been there in the good times, the bad times, the happy times, the sad times. Weed has been there. I fucks with weed. Yes, pick up the weed. Anyway, so Joe Biden, the architect of the 1994 crime bill, it should have been called the Biden crime bill. I think that's what Joey B really wanted at the time. He wanted that crime bill to be named after him. So the motherfucker who helped accelerate, he didn't start it. This war on drugs started under Nixon, of course, but Joe Biden said, this war on drugs shit is some shit I can get behind. This is some shit. This is some shit I can get some signature legislation passed with my name on it and make a name for myself out here from Little Delaware. Big Joey, I'm gonna send all the blacks to jail, right? And me in the 1994, I'm like, why is Joe Biden sending all my friends to jail? I mean, can Joe Biden please stop sending my friends and relatives to jail, please, if it's not too much trouble? So, let's see, 30, 40, 30 years. I'm sorry. Sometimes it takes me a while to addition and subtraction. I got that. Anyway, 30 years. 30 years. For the past 30 years, Joe Biden has helped and encouraged the locking up of people for possession of drugs, right? Including marijuana. Yesterday, Joe Biden made an announcement that he would be issuing blanket pardons to anyone convicted federally, which is very specific, federally, of simple marijuana possession. Again, which is very specific, and we want to circle back to that. So let Biden do his talking from this super clip of Politico from his announcement about the marijuana pardons yesterday.
As I said when I ran for president, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences. While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, Black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them. Second, I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses. Third, the federal government currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same as heroin and LSD, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. So I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Even as federal and local regulations of marijuana change, important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales should stay in place. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs.
And let me be clear, just for the record, the approach has been wrong to drugs all around, marijuana included, but not just cocaine, heroin, opiates, psychedelics. There's no legitimate reason why these drugs should be illegal or why people should have to spend years or even decades of their lives for doing or possessing drugs. Okay, I don't even care if motherfuckers was trafficking drugs. I'm gonna give it a buck with y'all. I understand if people be like, oh, drug trafficking denotes violence. Well, then maybe the government should step in and regulate and tax if you want to subtract the quote unquote violence from it. But I don't think that does that anyway. Just when there's money involved, there will be violence, right? Usually. But getting back to this, so like his student loan debt forgiveness announcement that he made a couple of weeks ago, on the surface, this sounds like a something, right? And don't get me wrong, for the 6,500 people who will be immediately impacted by this, this is not anything to sniff at. But when we deep the actual numbers of people, because there are more people convicted at the state level of marijuana possession than there are federally, right? I mean, how the fuck do you even get a simple marijuana federal conviction in the first place? I'm thinking in the DC area, if US Park Police, right, or Capitol Police, or you for reasons are found in possession of weed on federal property. I'm just trying to think of the ways, like, how the fuck do you even catch a Fed possession charge? You feel me? That whereas the local police or even your state police wouldn't be trying to prosecute you for that before the feds. But I, the chat is all the way over there. I cannot necessarily easily turn to look and see what the very insightful chat knowledge that you guys are imparting on from me. So pardon me for that. But anywho, my guess is, y'all, there has to be hundreds of thousands. It wouldn't even shock me if there were millions of marijuana convictions in the states between the time period that Joe Biden is willing to write these pardons for, right? Between 92, just between 92 and 2021 in the states. Because because this pardoning could actually help people in Washington, D.C., because D.C. is a federal whatever the fuck, right? So whatever shit Biden decides to do at the federal level will impact residents of Washington, D.C. And from the media reports that I've been seeing from today, they speculate that there could be literally thousands of district residents that could benefit from this. So you just think about how small D.C. is as a city. It's just what, 600,000 people? Thousands of people just in DC. So extrapolate that out around the country. We could easily be talking over millions of people, right? That will not be benefiting from this pardon and this subsequent expungement. And this is the shit I'm talking about. Joe Biden likes to try to tell us that he's doing something, but when you really open up the hood and Latif, give me some mechanics metaphors here. When you fucking check the fluids and shit, the shit ain't got no goddamn oil. That engine ain't got no fucking oil. And what happens when that engine don't have no oil? That bitch is gonna lock up on your ass, right? You thinking you're doing something, you really about to not be doing a whole lot. It's just when you read the fine print with Joe Biden, it's like, sir, this is just a press release. You know what I'm saying? Again, not to minimize the benefits that potentially these small thousand, 6,500, maybe plus a few more thousand in Washington, D.C., really untold numbers. Because I listening to D.C. Attorney General Carl Racine today talk about the Biden measure or the Biden administration's efforts around marijuana, he was saying that for district residents that this is going to have to be reviewed, these convictions, that is, by the DC Attorney General, which could be a very lengthy process. And it's not even they're still trying to work out all the details. So again, Biden sort of releases this, this new policy measure, but the language is still a little funny. Oh, and by the way, the Drug Policy Alliance released a statement, and they also pointed out that this mass pardoning of those with federal weed simple possession conviction does not include undocumented folks. So if you're undocumented, even if you qualify, so to speak, under this, this ain't for you, which is fucked up. Which is fucked up because we know again what marijuana possessions, or rather what marijuana convictions do to people's lives. And if you're trying to get a path to citizenship and somehow you goofily just got caught with a little bit of weed, well, this mass pardoning and mass expungement does not apply to you. The other thing that the Drug Policy Alliance said in their statement is that they want Joe Biden to go further than just suggest to the DEA and to Congress about rescheduling marijuana. They think, and I agree, that marijuana should be descheduled completely. If marijuana, nah, fuck that. Get marijuana off of the illegal drugs list, period. The fact that it's a Schedule 1 narcotic with cocaine and heroin and all the heavies. And by the way, why is LSD a Schedule 1 narcotic? I disagree with that also. But the fact that marijuana is in that scheduling of actual fucking narcotics is antiquated. It's unscientific. It's absolutely racist. It's classist, and they needs to get out of there. And I disagree with some of the reports that I've seen on television. They say that Biden has to go through a congressional review or some shit to reschedule marijuana. I don't think that's true at all. I think the rescheduling of drugs, because I remember actually speaking at a legalization rally at the White House. That's we were at the fucking White House. We were right there by the White House. I was out there. They gave me the mic and everything. I went out there and barked it up. Yeah, called Obama all kinds of names and everything. Um, but no, the president has the power of the pen when it comes to rescheduling drugs. I do not think that this is a congressional effort. This doesn't have to be reviewed congressionally. I'm pretty sure that via executive order to the Enforcement Administration, that drugs can be rescheduled. I think the president has that power. You all are free to correct me if I'm wrong. Motherfuckers been correcting me in the goddamn comments. It's like, so yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case because when I heard a reporter say that the rescheduling of the drugs had to go through Congress, that something clicked in my head. I said, I don't think that's right at all. I think that's all wrong. What else did I have on here in terms of talking about this shit? Cause I turned my goddamn head all the way to fuck around, and now my other computer done froze up. Ain't this a bitch? Mm. Your bad self. Na-na-na-na-na, say it loud. Burn. I'm black and I'm proud. Na-na-na-na-na. Yeah, go back and look at the video and see all the white people dancing to I'm black and I'm proud. I mean, like, where the fuck did y'all go? Where'd y'all go at? Northern Witch, was you in the James Brown video? Dancing to I'm black and I'm proud. Where did them white folks go? They was black and proud. And then they probably ended up voting for fucking Nixon. Ain't that a bitch? Where'd I go here? Yeah. Biden does this shit. Possession of marijuana. I'm sorry, y'all. In case you missed it, Biden marijuana conviction. Yeah. Okay, well maybe that's all I had about the Biden shit, because I'm not that impressed. I'm not that excited. Like I'm excited again for the very specific small number of people that are going to be impacted favorably by this, I would imagine. But all I keep thinking about is all the people throughout the 90s, throughout the 2000s, all the motherfuckers who got hit with them three strikes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck does this do for the three strikes cats? Nothing, dog, nothing. And on top of that, you know how many people caught other charges whilst they were catching those marijuana possession charges? Like, the police just don't hit you with a single charge. The police hit you with a variety of charges, a battery of charges. Like, I just don't like how specific this is. Like, this is kind of like means testing fucking clemency. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of here, dog. Do it for everybody or shut the fuck up. And encouraging these governors, there have been, and big up to Miriam Kaba. Like, she has been tracking this, like at least on her Twitter page at Prison Culture. If she has her account open, I suggest you follow her because she keeps that joint locked a lot. But she tweets about this with regularity about the lack of governors actually trying to pardon people or giving people clemency or commuting people's sentences. She was very critical of Andrew Cuomo about this, and I'm sure by extension Kathy Kathy Hochul. But the governors don't be doing that shit like they used to and like they can, because it is a financial incentive to keep people in jail. I know for a long time, before the semi-recent decriminalization of marijuana in Maryland, Maryland, I think, was the top state locking niggas up for weed. And you know why Maryland liked to lock niggas up for weed? Because Maryland made a lot of money locking niggas up for weed. Lots of court fines, lots of appearances, jail, bail, everything. All these states make money off of these drugs being illegal. So I don't see the governors really taking Biden's advice. Maybe Gavin Newsom might, because he has aspirations for bigger offices, and that's the other thing too. And on this front, I am okay. Again, this shit doesn't go far enough. I hate it so bad. I see why he did it. It's something to wave to his base ahead of the midterms. Like, no, no. You have to keep voting blue no matter who, because do you think the GOP is going to deschedule marijuana or do anything like that? Of course they're not. But that's the problem, though. That's the problem with our two-party political system that makes me just so furious and truly sometimes despondent, and makes me completely apathetic to the whole electoral process, because you have these horrific policies that have been in place for decades, generations, centuries, in some cases. And it can be well documented and well even acknowledged that these policies and laws are causing severe harm to society, particularly particular segments of society, more marginalized communities. And the Democrats, well, for example, let's say it's a broken leg, right? So this drug policy shit, the war on drugs, you broke your leg. You have a very severe injury. Your leg is broken. The Democrats will give you a band-aid and say, here, I gave you something for that broken leg. The Republicans will tell you to get up and walk the shit off, right? Like the GOP will be like, just walk it off. And the Democrats will be like, well, here's a band-aid. Neither one of them shits is fixing your broken fucking leg, right? Like neither of these solutions to the problem of the broken leg is addressing the broken leg. One of them refuses to address it all outright, and the other one gives you a solution or offers up a remedy that also does not address the problem. So I am just I'm not I'm not enthusiastic about this at all, because again, I think Biden could do way more executively, and this is literally, again, the bare minimum. And he did this in anticipation of the midterms, and the conservatives are like, oh, well, he just did this to placate his base. Yeah, motherfucker has the politics, bitch. What the fuck? What the fuck you think Trump was doing? Giving all the billionaire, millionaire, and top people tax cuts and screaming build the wall, and telling suburban Republicans that he was not going to allow affordable housing or low income housing to be built in his neighborhood. It's the same shit. That's it. That's it. It's politics. It's called throwing red meat to your base. But Biden just threw out some Taco Bell meat and told us that shit was filet mignon, and we said no, no, that is not.